I need to get this information out. So, on Friday of last week, which was the 25th of July, I went to the Makerspace in Orlando, a place that where they do meetings every Friday every last Friday, 3D printing meetings for people who do 3D printing to meet up. And uh, when I went in, this is what happened. This is what happened when I went in, because I should have made a video about it immediately after it happened, because I need to document everything that happened. But here I am on Monday, 3 days later. So I pulled up, I found the place, and I saw a guy pull up with like a Vespa, and it was kind of a restyle. He looked the part, like he was somebody who, you know, works on his own stuff, and I had a feeling I was in the right place. So I went in, but the door was locked, so I rang the doorbell and they let me in, and I went into the room. I don't think it was quite filled up yet, but there was a guy sat in front of me, and that same guy came back to. He was talking to me and the guy that was sitting in front of me about what he had created, and I was trying to look like I knew what he was talking about, but I have no clue. And he was talking about, and he even looked at me and says, "Oh, you use Fusion 360," which I'm going to need to write that down. Fusion 360. Fusion 360, because I need to write these notes. Bam. In fact, I'm probably gonna download that. On this Mac as soon as I'm done making this video. So he probably spent the next 5 minutes explaining how he made the thing, lines, the measurements, this and that, and I'm just looking and I'm like, oh, he's throwing out acronyms that I have no idea what he's saying. So, anyways, when he walked away, I talked to the informant. I said, "Man, I don't know what he just said." And then the guy that I was talking to, I think his name's Adam. He started talking to me about. He started trying to break down what the guy was talking about. Oh, Fusion 360 is a free program, and this is how you use it. This is how you use it. And for the next hour and a half, it was all a blur, because it was coming in so fast. Holy shit, I really appreciate these guys for the amount of information they were just throwing my way, and I'm gonna try my ass off to. I feel like these guys are like, they're just giving up the information. They're excited to teach me, and if I can absorb what they have trying to teach me. And there was a guy by the name of Mario. He kind of overheard our conversation, and he chimed in, and he just gave so much information. Oh my God. And then there was another guy that came, sat next to us, a long hair guy. I don't know his name, but he was chiming in with the information. He was just sitting there, and he was just reinforcing what the guys were saying, and they were talking about so much stuff. I remember they were talking about something that made zero sense, but I held on to the idea for long enough that when they got upstairs, they printed me out something, which just me seeing the process blew me away. But they brought me over to the machine, and he goes, "Oh, do you see this?" And it was like a pad. And I was like, "Oh, this is the pad that how the machine kind of wipes itself." I didn't see it done, but it made sense. They're like, "Oh, it's kind of like toilet paper, a bidet, just a piece of pad for the machine to go and clean itself off." And so they were talking about the program. So what they said is, listen, if you want to get into this space, something that wouldn't cost a lot of money, if you're serious about it, is to practice on these programs and send it to SendCut Go so you can get your product back. Now, I actually think I might use that in the future, but I want the finished product like now. I want to be able to learn it, print it, get it done. Bam, 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 done. And oh my God, they taught me so many. Like, even taught me one thing. He says, some machines are actually strong, or some parts are stronger if you build it at an angle, because instead of being upright, built with like stories, lines like this. But if it's tilted to the right, because it's built, the lines are built at an angle, it gives it a little bit more strength. These are all just so many tricks. I don't even know how to say that. There's a better way of saying what he just said, which I will try to learn. But oh my God, when it comes to building stuff on whatever machine that you're trying to build it on, and the ideas, and I was asking him, like, a little bit of, I don't know if they were taboo topics, but how do 3D printer guys make their money? And because I'm a business oriented guy, I think to myself, you know what? This is important, because if you can figure out how to start making money off of this, then it'll propel you to the next stage. So like, if you can sell a knickknack, if you can sell a unit, you can get that down. You get that down. They were a little bit disgusted on how the guys would go to the fairs and they would sell the stupid dragons. And I was looking at them like, actually, no, good on them if they can do that. If they can sell those dragons, then good on them. And then what that lets them do is that lets them learn how to get to the next stage. And maybe it's not creative and they're just getting the program and it's stupid. And what they told me, they said, you're going to print this thing called a Benchy, which is a boat, which is it comes with a pre-program into the thing. And they actually printed me out one at the end of the day just so I could see how it's done. And the thought came into my head. I went and looked up to see how much Benchies were sold for, and they're selling Benchies for $1, $2, $10 based off of larger size on Etsy and eBay and whatnot. And I'm thinking to myself, they're literally selling Benchies for the preloaded program. This is so funny. If people can do it, then by God, like, build up an avenue to do it, because then that allows you to make money, buy more equipment, learn how to do it. Whether if you're not good at so I'm doing all this, and I'm gonna figure out here soon what I'm good at, whether that's actually operating the machine, whether I get the program from somebody else, or whether it is I create the program, or whether it is I can tweak the program, somebody else makes it, and I can just tweak it for a second and do that. I don't know what I'm good at. I think I'm pretty good at documenting all the stuff from, my previous channels of rebuilding cars and racing and how to do stuff, that I'd like to bring that over to 3D printing. But then also on top of that too, they had when they brought me up to one of the machines, they had a webcam pointed inside of the machine. And I'm like, how is this hooked up? I want to figure out how to do that. I want to figure out how to hook up that 3D printing machine so that I can create a time lapse or show people how to do all this stuff. Also, another thing I'm doing is I'm on I'd like to start writing articles for magazines, because as a newcomer, I think I bring an interesting perspective to this, so that I can show what it's like to be brand new in the space. Anyways, so, oh my God, there's so much information. From now on out, when I leave the space, because I'm going to go every last Friday of every month. When I leave the space, when I leave the meetup, I'm going to get on my phone and drive back to be like, and I'll give a running narrative and say, oh my God, they taught me this, they taught me that. So what I took away with it is, and they talked about that you need to dehydrate or you need to have the material in the right climate, whether that be the plastics, the type of plastic, the carbon, whatever. It's all different for whatever you're trying to do. So I ended up buying me a 3D printer that had a housing to keep the material the proper temperature, so to say, whatever you want to call it, the proper humidity level, and what am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? The proper environment, I guess. But there's parts of the there's the part that actually fuels the there's a part that feeds the 3D printer, almost like so if you had a gun and it was belt fed, and you had the ammo crate, you can almost call the ammo crate a magazine. This is the magazine. And for the 3D printer, they have a holder for the spools. That in itself is a magazine. I think I'm gonna call that a magazine. This is the 3D printing magazine. And the 3D printing magazine that I got actually has an enclosure that keeps it the proper atmosphere, whatever the word I'm looking for is. Anyway, so I bought a pretty top dog. I didn't buy the toppest of dogs, but I bought a pretty decent one, not a beginner one. Well, maybe a beginner one, but I jumped the gun, and I've done that so many times in my life, and I have to be prepared that when I jump the gun on stuff, and I did that motorcycle racing. I showed up with the fastest bike without actually learning the trade. And I don't want to do that when it comes to 3D printing. I don't want to show up with the biggest, baddest machine. But I want to buy once and cry once, and I want the capability, So if you don't want to invest that much, you could buy a cheaper unit, but I'm willing to invest in it to see, how much I can grow this thing. So I'm setting my office up, ready for it all. And I mean, oh my God, I can't even remember half the stuff they told me at the maker place, but I'm going to document the entire thing. I'm going to set it all up. I need to write this up. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to write this up so that I can 100% document what the heck is going on. Labeling. I need to have my actual printer set up with ink. Ooh. Labels. Yeah, because hey, I wanna be able to sell on eBay. I want to be able to recoup money so that I can reinvest back into the situation. I'm doing this to make money. Don't get it twisted. But at the same time, I'm making a channel to help everybody out. No, don't get me wrong. I might withhold some information if it's a really big seller. But at the same time, if I can help out somebody else out and be like, hey man, you and I can help each other out. And I've done that in the past when it comes to motorcycle racing with photography and whatnot. So, and that that's another reason I am doing this, is because my bike is broken. So therefore, guess what? I'm doing 3D printing. But I want to also do 3D printing when it comes to automotive as well. So I don't know if I did a good enough job of explaining what happened at the 3D printing meetup, but all I know is that I was guided on what a decent 3D printer to buy is and was, so I bought it, and that's the route I'm going, and I'm writing this up so that when I look back at this at a later date, I can be like, okay, these are the steps I took, and as a new guy, because nobody writes this stuff down. Well, maybe people do, but not from a beginner's point of view, and I'm telling you, I'm going to make some mistakes. I don't even know what the acronyms are for the materials. So, this is all the data.